when it comes to breathtaking action, Skyfall 2012 stands tall as one of the most visually stunning and practically crafted Bond films ever made. Director Sam Mendes didn't just aim to deliver explosions and chase scenes, he wanted every frame to feel real. From the rooftops of Istanbul to the crashing trains of London's tunnels, every moment was built on practical stunts, real sets, and unbelievable coordination between cast and crew. So, let's dive behind the camera and uncover how Skyfall's most thrilling scenes were actually brought to life. The film kicks off with an adrenaline-pumping pursuit through the crowded markets and streets of Istanbul, which are the most thrilling chases of Skyfall ever filmed. To capture this realism, Sam Mendes insisted on shooting at real locations, rather than relying on green screens. But filming in a real Turkish bazaar came with chaos, unpredictable people, tight spaces, and the constant challenge of keeping the action smooth. The production team took full control of certain areas, creating a hybrid between real marketplaces and controlled sets, so crashes and sharp turns could be performed safely. The driving stunts were handled by Ben Collins, the man famous as the Stig from Top Gear. Multiple cameras were mounted from every possible angle, one on the bumper, another on a gimbal rig, and several handheld shots captured by the cameraman to enhance the sense of chaos. Every crash, every skid, every near miss was real, with no CGI cars or fake explosions. In an era dominated by visual effects, Skyfall proudly showcased the old-school art of real stunt filmmaking, making every frame pulse with raw adrenaline. After tearing through the streets, the chase escalates onto the rooftops of Istanbul's Grand Bazaar, marking one of the most jaw-dropping sequences in modern Bond history. The rooftops were a complex maze of interconnected houses and pathways. To execute the chase safely, stunt coordinator Gary Powell and his team created a network of wooden and metal ramps that allowed riders to ride and jump between rooftops with precision. For this sequence, the crew used specially modified Honda CRF 250R dirt bikes, chosen for their lightweight build and stability on uneven surfaces. Before filming on location, stunt riders practiced for weeks on mock-up rooftops, testing every landing and jump to perfection. World-renowned motocross rider Robbie Madison performed several of these daring stunts himself, often without a helmet, so that Daniel Craig's face continuity remained seamless on camera. To capture the action, filmmakers used crane rigs and wire-mounted cameras gliding across the skyline, giving the chase a sense of speed and scale. Turkish authorities even shut down entire city blocks to ensure safety. What looks like reckless chaos on screen was actually a perfectly choreographed ballet. Every leap, skid, and turn timed with mathematical precision. And now we arrive at the most legendary moment of Skyfall, the epic train rooftop chase and fight sequence, filmed in Turkey's Adana region. This jaw-dropping scene was shot on a real moving train, speeding at nearly 40 miles per hour. Sam Mendes wanted every moment to feel raw and real, so he minimized the use of green screens or studio trickery. Instead, second unit director Alexander Witt and special effects supervisor Chris Corbould designed a precise choreography that synchronized every stunt double, camera operator, and actor to perfection. The crew attached hidden wires and safety harnesses to the actors, which were later digitally erased in post-production. Beneath the train roof, flexible metal panels were installed to absorb the actors' impact during their falls and punches, giving the scenes both realism and safety. Daniel Craig performed many of his own stunts here, later admitting in an interview, "That train fight was the closest thing to real danger I've ever done as Bond." Even the breathtaking moment where Bond falls from the train into the river was a real practical stunt, filmed without the use of CGI. And the fall into the river after being shot was performed by Andy Lister as stunt double, rather than Daniel Craig himself, but Daniel Craig did many of the rooftop fight scenes by himself. This sequence stands as a masterclass in action filmmaking, not just for its intensity, but for its precision, realism, and craftsmanship. Later in the film, a jaw-dropping moment of Skyfall came when Bond tracks Silva through the London Underground tunnel when Silva escapes MI6. Bond follows him through the tunnels, and suddenly, Silva triggers an explosion that sends an entire train crashing through the ceiling, missing Bond by inches. Director Sam Mendes and SFX genius Chris Corbould wanted to capture as much as possible in camera to make the destruction feel physically real. For this, a full-scale tunnel set was built inside Pinewood Studios, complete with realistic walls, rails, and the iconic London Underground look. Shooting in an actual subway was too dangerous, so this detailed replica allowed the team to safely stage the explosion. Heavy train carriages were mounted on hydraulic rigs, while sections of the roof were pre-weakened and fitted with linear explosives. When triggered, the ceiling collapsed with perfect timing as a dummy train was launched forward on tracks, simulating a full-speed crash through the tunnel. The explosion was captured in one single take because once that roof came down, there was no way to rebuild it easily. Cinematographer Roger Deakins meticulously lit the set to enhance the realism, while a few CGI layers of smoke and debris were later added to heighten the intensity. But make no mistake, the impact and destruction were mostly real. The sequence proved once again why Skyfall isn't just a Bond film, it's a blend of classic stunt work and modern cinematic brilliance. The 2012 film Skyfall stands as one of the most visually stunning entries in the entire James Bond series. And its climax, the siege at Skyfall Lodge, remains an unforgettable spectacle of scale, tension, and craftsmanship. In the film's third act, Bond hides out with M in his old Scottish estate, Skyfall Lodge, preparing for a deadly showdown against Silva and his men. But here's something few people know. That iconic mansion wasn't real at all. It wasn't even in Scotland. The entire lodge, its surrounding gate, chapel, and graveyard were meticulously built from scratch on Hankley Common in Surrey, England, a restricted military training zone. The production team secured special permission to construct the massive set, which was designed to look exactly like an ancient Highland manor. Built primarily out of plywood, plaster, and cement boards, the structure took over 6 months to complete under art director Dean Clegg and production designer Dennis Gassner. Every stone, texture, moss patch, and cracked wall was handcrafted to make it feel centuries old. When Silva's forces attack, Bond defends the lodge using his vintage Aston Martin DB5, one of the most beloved cars in movie history. But don't worry, they didn't blow up the real one. Instead, the effects team created replica versions and miniature models. Real DB5s were used only for close-up hero shots, while explosions and bullet hits were achieved using squibs, pyro rigs, and dummy cars mounted on camera rigs. The illusion was flawless, making audiences believe the real DB5 was caught in the crossfire. And then comes the breathtaking helicopter attack. Silva's men storm the property, music thunders in the background, and chaos unfolds. This wasn't CGI, it was filmed at night with a real helicopter flying low over the lodge. Every movement required perfect coordination between the pilot and the SFX crew to ensure safety. When the house finally catches fire, those flames were 100% real, controlled and monitored by special effects supervisor Chris Corbould, the same genius behind Inception and The Dark Knight. During filming, the Hankley Common site transformed into a war zone, complete with wind machines, spotlight towers, and massive controlled explosions lighting up the night sky. Because the area is under the Ministry of Defense, no locals were allowed near the set. Some sequences had to be reshot due to unpredictable weather and fire conditions. And when the final explosion destroyed the Skyfall Lodge on screen, that was real too. The set was demolished for good, symbolizing the end of an era, both for Bond and for the house itself. The result was cinematic magic, an entirely man-made Scottish estate that looked, felt, and burned as if it truly existed in the Highlands. Another standout moment in Skyfall is the eerie island sequence where Bond first comes face-to-face with the enigmatic villain, Raoul Silva. On screen, the location appears as a haunting ghost island filled with decaying buildings, rusted pipes, and cracked concrete, a perfect symbol of Silva's fractured psyche. But while audiences believed it was shot in some faraway ruin, the truth is far more interesting. The setting was inspired by Hashima Island, an abandoned mining island off the coast of Japan, also known as Gunkanjima or Battleship Island. However, filming there was impossible due to safety concerns. The real island is structurally unstable, and Japanese authorities denied full-scale access. So the Skyfall team came up with a brilliant workaround. They captured limited real aerial footage of the actual island, and then recreated the rest entirely at Pinewood Studios in England. The set builders designed a massive reconstruction of Hashima's decayed architecture, complete with fake cracks, moss textures, rust effects, and sea salt weathering, to make every wall look eaten away by time and ocean wind. The lighting crew added damp fog and low humidity levels to mimic the atmosphere of a forgotten place lost in the sea. The unforgettable moment when Bond and Severine are brought to Silva wearing her elegant red dress was all filmed on this Pinewood set. The chilling scene where Silva plays a deadly shooting game was captured using controlled blank guns and careful camera blocking, highlighting the cold tension between the characters. This sequence remains a masterclass in production design, how creativity and technical skill can transform a soundstage into a hauntingly real island prison. One of Skyfall's most gripping transitions happens during M's government hearing, a quiet political setting that suddenly erupts into chaos. In this scene, M, played by Judi Dench, stands before a parliamentary committee, facing harsh criticism over MI6's failures. But just as she begins her emotional defense, Silva crashes into the scene, literally, opening fire inside the hall, turning a peaceful meeting into a nightmare. To recreate this tense moment, director Sam Mendes had a massive courtroom set built at Pinewood Studios, designed to resemble Westminster's Parliament chambers. Every detail, from the wooden panels to the microphones and lighting, matched real UK government interiors to give an authentic feel. The gunfight that follows was filmed using practical stunts and air-pressured blank guns. No CGI bullets here. To simulate bullet hits, the team used breakaway glass panels, spark charges, and timed smoke bursts. Each reaction, every bullet impact and fall was carefully choreographed. The stunt team rehearsed the sequence multiple times to synchronize the timing of actors' movements with the explosive effects. When you watch the chaos unfold, guards diving for cover, papers flying, and M standing frozen amid the gunfire, remember that it's all a perfectly calculated illusion, and one of those moments that blend tension, realism, and elegance, a hallmark of the Skyfall production. And that's how Skyfall blended real stunts, handcrafted sets, and breathtaking cinematography to create one of the most unforgettable Bond adventures ever made. From the rooftops of Istanbul to the tunnels beneath London, the film proved that practical filmmaking is still the heart of great action cinema. If you love diving into these behind-the-scenes secrets of Skyfall, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into how iconic movies are made. Tell us in the comments which Bond stunt blew your mind the most. Until next time, keep your eyes open, because in the world of cinema, there's always more than what you see on screen.